Hey guys, it's Willow and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be colouring the sketchbook spread using alcohol markers. Sorry if the audio sounds a little different, it's because there's like lots of stuff going on outside and I don't want a lot of the background noise coming in, so I'm using headphones instead. Okay, so as you can see, I've already done the line art in coloured pencils, which I think kind of gives it like a soft look. I didn't really have like a specific theme for this page, I was just going through some of my Pinterest saves. But I was planning on going quite monochrome with the scheme from the start. Like for example, if I did purple line art like I did for this one, I would just use purple markers to colour her in. I'm going to talk a bit about my process when using markers because if any of you are beginners, I know that it can be a really hard medium to get used to, so I'm just going to give you some like tips. It's going to be informal, not like a tutorial, but I just thought I might as well talk about it considering that's what I'm using in this video. So yeah, feel free to grab your sketchbook and draw along. I think if you're just starting out with alcohol markers, doing like one colour portraits is actually really helpful. I think it helps you focus on the different tones. You won't be as distracted kind of by all the different colours, it won't be as overwhelming. And instead you can really focus on layering up the same colour to add some depth. Also remember that this doesn't just go for alcohol markers, even if you just have some water-based brush pens or any felt tips really. You can still blend them. Obviously it's not going to be as easy and you're going to have to work with less layers, otherwise the paper will start tearing up. But that doesn't mean you can't build up values and create really cool effects as well. Talking about the drawing a bit, I used a more cool toned lilac colour for the skin and then I used warmer purple shades for the hair, just so that there was still enough contrast. Like I wasn't just using one marker, I was using lots of different markers of the same colour. Colouring the hair was really satisfying and nice, I mean for all of the drawings. It's just really fun like leaving highlights and adding shadows. And also I think the skin looks really nice, just going back over with a second layer of the same colour that you used before, just to add like subtle shading because obviously skin isn't just one flat colour. As you can see, I'm moving on to this eye. It's not the most accurate because I wasn't like copying from a photo reference, I was copying from a reference of someone else's illustration of an eye. I mean mine didn't look nearly as good as theirs. Basically what I'm trying to say is I was kind of just making it up as I went along. I didn't love how it turned out, but I think it was a good way to fill out the space, so yeah. And next I'm moving on to this girl in the centre. She's probably my favourite drawing on the whole page, well 2 pages. I just really like the pose and the hair looks really cool. As you can tell here I was using blue colours and I like how the skin turned out for this one as well. I didn't like go out of my way to make it look not streaky because I think the streaks once again added to like this texture I guess. I think I say like way too much in my voiceovers, but yeah. Also just like the other one I'm using different colours of blue, different shades of blue. So brighter ones for the shirt and more dull ones for the skin and then more like darker ones for the hair I guess. Colouring clothes is also one of my favourite things to do, especially shirts, because I love leaving the areas for the highlights, like it's so satisfying. If you've never coloured a shirt using markers, I would definitely recommend it. Okay, so another tip, you don't have to be a beginner for these tips by the way, they're not that original or anything, they're just like general things. But make sure to like start with a lot of pressure where you want darker bits and sort of feather out, as I'm doing here with the hair, because that's going to make blending a lot more easier than if you're always putting like 100% pressure on. Also, not only is the blending going to be harder, but your pen is going to soak through the page. So yeah, try not to be too heavy-handed, if that makes sense. I wasn't sure whether putting this girl like right down the centre line was a good idea, because on one hand it does balance out the 2 pages, like if everything was just avoiding that line, it would have looked less like a cohesive spread. But then also she's kind of at a weird angle from where you're looking on the camera, like it's sort of, her face is kind of like squashed, but I think I like it. I like how the 3 people are kind of diagonal, it kind of splits the composition nicely. Here's a little progress clip to see how it's going so far. And now I'm going to colour in the third person, and we've had purple, we've had blue, so obviously all that's left is pink, but I didn't use the pink actually to do the line art for this one. I used this, well it is kind of pink, it's more like a purplish colour. But basically what I'm trying to say is it wasn't 100% pink because I was saving that for the bunny above. If you can't really tell what's going on up there, it has like a flower on its head, but don't worry, we'll get to that in a short moment. I really like how the shadow on the side of her face looks, like I think it adds a subtle 3-dimensionality that I think looks really nice. And I was thinking that my art style hasn't really changed much from last year, but the other day I was looking at some of my old videos and I do think that it's changed quite a bit. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that because I don't want to just be always doing the same thing. I want to be improving as time goes on, obviously. Another thing is I definitely think that this editing looks better. I feel like I always mention how I do time lapses instead of this kind of editing because it takes up too much time, but when I do it, it's definitely worth it. This particular drawing is kind of giving Barbie vibes. I think it's just the hair now that I'm looking at it. But yeah, that's cool, I guess. By the way, if you're wondering why I wrote January in the corner over there, it's just because there was space and also my pencil was really sharp, so I wanted to write something. I like looking back through my sketchbook and seeing like month or like event related pages, if you know what I mean, like Halloween pages or winter pages, and I realised I hadn't had any January or New Year's pages, so I just thought I'd write January. But I was kind of wondering whether I should write February instead because I was aware of the fact that this was going to go out in February. There was no chance I was going to finish editing and filming in like a day, but yeah, I ended up going with January, even though I think that the overall page gives more February vibes, and also I've said those 2 months way too many times and I'm 100% waffling right now, so I'm gonna stop. But yeah, okay, next drawing. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of tired right now and I'm on my last legs, as they say, so please bear with me if what I'm saying doesn't really make any sense. Speaking of things not making sense, I know, my segues are amazing. This is a bunny with a flower on its head. Isn't this reference just adorable? I just couldn't not draw this little guy. Yeah, so as I said, I was using more reddish pink tones for this drawing so that there was still some sort of contrast. Now, since I just remembered that I was supposed to be like doing tips about alcohol markers, I'll give you guys another one. If you're drawing something light like this, make sure you leave a lot of gaps. Like, so for the bunny's fur, I wouldn't go with the darkest colour and then try and go back with like a lighter pink colour, because if you use lighter colours on top of darker colours, when I'm specifically talking about alcohol markers, by the way, then it's going to kind of get sucked up and basically it just doesn't work. So just try and plan ahead and leave your white spaces empty. I used this, I think it's called mint green colour for shading on the bunny instead of purple, because to be honest I was kind of getting sick of using purple and I thought that the green would add a little something different. Now moving on to these daisies, or whatever flower they are. I'm also using that green colour and also this yellow colour. I like how they fill the space up and make it feel more complete. I didn't add too much detail, but I think the finished result looks quite nice. Also remember that when you add shadows, you don't have to just add the same colour, unless of course you're doing a monochrome drawing. Like for the daisies, I used purple to add shadows, because generally speaking, purple's a good colour for adding shadows instead of like grey, because it's a bit more lively. I mean, when I first realised this, it was a big game changer for my art, because previously I've just been using darker shades of the same colour to add shadows, and using different colours really added a new layer to my drawings. I know I talk about that a lot, but it's just always relevant, so I gotta mention it. Okay, whoa, hold on, we just completely glossed over the little rat. This is the reference I used. I basically just copied it because I thought it'd be a cute addition to the page. I would reference the artist, by the way, but I don't know, Pinterest doesn't do a very good job at giving credits, so I don't actually know who it's by, but it is a very amazing artwork. Okay, and now I'm moving on to the background. I decided to go with yellow because that sort of ties in the butterfly on the purple girl. It's on her finger, by the way, not on her face. And yeah, I think it complements the rest of the drawing as well. I really do feel like this voiceover has been getting quieter as the video goes on, so sorry if you've had to been like turning up your volume. But if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much. As you can tell, I've finished the drawing now. I'm just adding the final touches, including highlights. I really like the pastel vibe of this page. It was actually surprisingly quick to finish, because once I'd done the line art, it was quite simple, kind of a relaxing colouring process for me. And I do think the choice to use coloured pencils was a good one, since it makes the page a bit different from my usual ones. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!